Thank you, everybody. Take a seat, please. Thank you. First of all, I want to thank Cyril for being our violinist this evening. He has been amazing during our networking portion, so thank you so much. Happy St. Valentine's Day, everybody. These past few weeks have been pretty busy for the diocese. You know, we've had the kickoff for 6:35. We've had a new bishop, Bishop Edward Burns. We're so excited to be a part of this incredible diocese, and we can't wait to see where the Lord takes us. Thank you all so much for being here tonight, and we're excited to get started for the evening. As many of you know, my name is Bryan, and I am the chapter president of YCP Dallas, one of the nation's fastest growing Catholic organizations. Currently, we have 16 active chapters, including our most recent in New Orleans, or Nolans, or NOLA, or however you pronounce it. And we've even had interest internationally from more than 10 different countries. YCP is a nonprofit organization with a mission to work and witness for Christ. Our programs and events are designed to help you be Catholic leaders in any type of workplace, no matter what that looks like. In addition to our happy hours and executive speaker series, you receive deeper formation through annual membership with dynamic panel discussions, spiritual direction, mentorship, and small groups, thus transforming you into an ambassador of the faith. Last month, I touched briefly on panel discussions and just how impactful those have been to dive deeper into certain topics and to further open my eyes into God's love for us. He is always calling us to follow Him in everything we do. This month, I would like to share my experience with different YCP member benefit, spiritual direction. Many of you may have talked with some of our spiritual directors this evening. We've had a few kind of spread throughout the crowd. And I want to thank them, first of all, for being spiritual directors. Spiritual direction has been an incredible opportunity for me personally, to discern how God is working in my daily life. I meet with my spiritual guide every few months, and she challenges me to think about my relationship with Christ and how that affects my relationships, even those at work and in my personal life. Spiritual direction has helped me to refocus on Christ and continue to grow my love for Him. All of the YCP membership programs provide these tangible tools for our courageous discernment as Catholics, from panels to spiritual direction to mentoring and so forth. On behalf of the whole leadership team, I want to thank you for joining us at the Cathedral this evening for our St. Valentine's party, and to hear from our keynote speaker, Elizabeth Bryan, on how to become the leaders that the world needs. First, to prepare our hearts, Father Ryan Richardson, our YCP chaplain, will lead us in a short reflection and blessing. Additionally, just a short announcement, both he and Father Edward will be hearing confessions in the back of the room during the talk. So there will be one set over here and then another priest in the back corner over here. So feel free to stop by during the talk for confession. Thank you both in advance. Please help me in welcoming Father Ryan.
Just tonight I want to start with a reflection on the best Valentine's Day card I ever received. And so you can go over your own mind, what's the best Valentine's Day card you received. But for me, it happened when I was a junior in college. I went to a Jesuit university, and the campus ministry had these Valentine's Day cards with a quote from Father Guadalupe, who was one of the superior generals of the order. But the card stuck with me and was on the post of my bed for the whole semester and then the next year, and then for a few years after that. It impacted me that much. And I wanted to share you this line and then give you a little reflection on this. Here it is. Nothing is more practical than finding God, than falling in love in a quite absolute, final way. What you are in love with, what seizes your imagination, will affect everything. It will decide what will get you out of bed in the morning, what you do with your evenings, how you spend your weekends, what you read, whom you know, what breaks your heart, and what amazes you with joy and gratitude. Fall in love, stay in love, and it will decide everything. Pretty awesome Valentine's Day card, right? So, just in light of this, Valentine's Day, many times, there's a problem with what do we mean by love? You can say, okay, I love my family, I love the Dallas Cowboys, I love YCP, I love ice cream. So we can use love in many different ways, but do we mean the same thing, right, when we use the word? Now, here's where catechesis comes in. And, I spent 11 years in formation for the priesthood, so I'm going to show off and give you a lesson from one of my Greek classes on an etymology of love from the Greeks. So the Greeks didn't really have this problem because they had at least 4 different words for love. So one of the words was eros, and this is the kind of love that we typically associate with Valentine's Day, right? Kind of romantic love, romantic, that sort of thing. So there's a second form, though, which is philia, and that is affection between 2 equals, a kind of friendship love that implies loyalty, devotion, brotherly love. That's philia. And then you have storge, which is a love between parents and children that was expressed. And then you have a fourth, which is agape. And agape was the word that was used the least by the ancient Greeks. And it conveys a universal, unconditional love, a love that transcends regardless of the circumstances. And it's the highest form of love. The Greeks, they didn't use it too much because they did have these Greek gods, but they never used this term because Plato, Aristotle, and the other Greek philosophers, they said that the gods were all perfect, and if they're all perfect, they desire nothing, and then they have no love for man, the gods. They're disinterested. But for us as Christians, things changed when Christ entered the world. Then the gospel writers were trying to say, wow, we have a reality now that God decides to come man in Christ to save the world. And he decides to suffer it in order to bring us heaven and to redeem us. Now, what word can we use to describe this self-giving of God the Father for us? Agape. This unconditional love of God for man. So in the New Testament, they don't use these other terms. They use philia, this brotherly love, 45 times, but they use agape 320 times. They go nuts with this term because they wanted, this is the best way to describe this crazy love that God has for us and that Christ has for us, and that we should have in turn for each other and for God. So, St. Thomas Aquinas would say that agape is to will the good of another. Catechism 1844 says that Christian love, agape, is loving God above all things and our neighbor as ourselves for the love of God. And probably the best testimony of this agape is from St. Paul in the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 13. And just to share this with us. So agape love is patient and kind, does not envy or boast, is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. Agape bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Agape never ends. So the highest form of love, the Christian love, is to give of ourselves. It's giving of ourselves in imitation of God's self-giving, His love for us. That's the heart of what it means for us as Christians to truly love. So my invitation for us on this Valentine's night and a thought to enter into our week is maybe one practical thing to think, what one act of self-giving love can I do this week for others? And perhaps I can think of my relationships with my colleagues, my friends, my family, my roommates. Maybe there's someone that I haven't talked to in a while that I need to give a call to, check in on, see how they're doing, bring a smile to their face. Maybe it's a coworker who's ostracized, who's kind of out on the peripheries. Maybe it's an opportunity to share my faith with those who are searching. Love for us as Christians is to give ourselves, again, an imitation of this great God who has loved us so much. So today, as Christians on this St. Valentine's night, let's make the decision here to fall in love with the great love that God has for us. Let's stay in love and let this love, this agape, decide everything. And as we get ready for our speaker tonight, let's bow our heads in prayer, and I'll give you a blessing. God our Father, we thank you so much for the great love that you have for us, this self-giving love. We ask that you fill our hearts with love for you and love for our neighbor. Make us apostles in this great city of Dallas, and give us the privilege to share your great love with all those we encounter this week. And we ask the blessing of Almighty God, the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, to descend upon you and remain with you forever. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Father. Thank you for challenging us to fall in love with God, especially during this Valentine's season, and to love others better by giving ourselves. At this point, we now turn to introduce our keynote speaker, Bryan. Elizabeth is the Vice President of Southwest Airlines University. She provides strategic direction and oversight for company-wide leadership development courses and skills training for 46,000 Southwest warriors. Since joining Southwest Airlines in 1997, Elizabeth has served in various leadership roles in leadership development, talent development, and training. During her time at Southwest, she has led many training initiatives, including performance management, SAP implementation, if you don't know what that is, maybe she'll tell us, or you can ask her later, and AirTran Integration. Prior to Southwest, she taught business communication courses at Indiana University and College of San Mateo. She lives here in Dallas with her husband, Torry, and their 3 children. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming our speaker, Bryan.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. So I need to thank you for agreeing to spend Valentine's Day with me. I've never had a date this successful, in my life, so I really appreciate that. And Father Bryan, I loved your words of encouragement, and I think when I reflect back on my career with Southwest over the past almost 20 years, I think what really drew me to the company was that it is a culture that encourages employees to take care of others and to seek those who are underprivileged, to seek those who need help, to seek those who could use a helping hand. And it was, it's unlike a corporate culture that I've ever experienced. And I think that's really why I stayed so long, because I will tell you that I came from San Francisco, and I thought to myself, why am I moving to Dallas from San Francisco? My family's there, my sisters, my brothers, my parents. Why would I? And they thought, you are crazy. Why are you moving to Texas? And I actually looked for opportunity to move back. Time and time again, I just kept thinking, that's where I need to go. And every time I would think seriously about it and I would be prayerful about it, something would happen here that would keep me here. And I learned to keep listening, and the path is open to you. And that was really such an enlightening moment for me to realize this is where I need to be. And it's been an amazing journey and something that I'm just so thankful for. But I'll have to tell you, so this morning, I'm going to be completely vulnerable with you all this morning. My husband, we're getting the kids ready and we're going to school, getting them off to school, and he said, hey, so what are we doing tonight? And I said, well, I don't know what you're doing tonight, but I'm going to spend some time with my young Catholic professionals. And he said, you didn't tell me that. So I'm going to need to go home and make it up to him this weekend, maybe with a date. So thank you all very much. And I hopefully it's probably going to cost me probably a good bottle of wine as well. So I wanted to give you a little bit of history on Southwest Airlines. How many of you have flown Southwest? Yeah, so you're familiar with our brand, right? So you're familiar with who we are. So we've been around for 45 years, so really long time. And we are the only airline that has been profitable for 43 years, since 2 years of our inception. And so we've been profitable, we've never had a layoff, we've never asked for employee concessions. And I get asked the question all the time, how do you do that? How is that possible? When you think about 2001, when you think about 2008, what makes Southwest Airlines different than anybody else? And I will tell you, it is so simple that sometimes I feel that it's hard to understand for companies. We truly love each other. And I thought it was so appropriate to be here on Valentine's Day. We are the Love Airline, the LUV airline, and we're a company that believes if you take care of your employees, and not just take care of them financially, but take care of their whole self. We hire because we want you. Not just part of you, not just your work self, not just the skill set that you bring, but we want you. So when we bring in that entire person and take care of that entire person, then you're more loyal and you work harder. And when you work harder, you get better service and you have customers who come back. And when you have customers who come back, you make a profit, right? I remember in 2001, I was an instructor at that time. And I remember a couple days after 9/11 thinking, I won't have a job. I shouldn't have a job. When you think about when a company is going through a difficult time, what gets cut, right? HR and training are typically the top of the list. And I thought, okay, I get it, I understand it. Continental had just announced a massive layoff. We hadn't even put an aircraft back in the sky yet. And Colleen Barrett, who was our president emeritus, she was president at the time, she called over and she said, I'd like all the instructors to come together and I want to sit down and have a conversation. And so we sat in a circle in a room actually similar to this, and she said, I can't tell you what the future will hold. I don't know what this afternoon is going to look like. But what I can tell you is Southwest Airlines needs you. We love you. And what you're doing tomorrow may not look the same as what you did yesterday. But our employees need you now more than ever. And asked us to just do whatever it took to help our employees and to help us through that time. And really that was a moment of character that I witnessed with Southwest. And my loyalty at that moment was obviously strengthened. So we have such a colorful history, and if you look back at those key moments, so many of them, the foundation is within the care and concern for our employees. So it really is a beautiful, beautiful story. We have about 55,000 employees. We get a lot of resumes, and we hire about 3.4% of those resumes that are sent into Southwest. So statistically speaking, it's tougher to get into Southwest Airlines than it is to get into Harvard. That made me feel really good, because there was no way I could ever get into Harvard. So our core values. So we sat down at about 2005 and made the decision to develop core values. We didn't have any defined core values before then. And really the reason was because we didn't want, when I mentioned employees come in, we hire the whole you, we didn't want to limit who our employees were. So we didn't want to say you had to be this way or you had to be this way. But we realized as we continued to grow, it was important that we identify the essence of who we are, our core being. Not permission to play values, but really, if you walked into Southwest Airlines, what would you see? Well, you would see employees that work hard, they persevere, they never give up. It's the word of spirit. You find employees who take their job seriously, but not themselves too seriously. They can laugh at themselves when they need to, and I need to do that a lot. And that's the fun living attitude. And finally, and this is to me the most important value, is the servant's leadership, servant's heart value. And it was something that I saw when I first came into Southwest Airlines, and it is something that it's the first thing that I look for when I hire someone. It's the first thing I recognize when I promote someone. Do you put others before yourself? Do you care about the growth and development of the people around you? Because that's why you're here. As a leader, your purpose is to take care of those around you, period. And those have really lasted. And just interesting story, as we were doing a little bit of research on core values, we visited a lot of different best-in-class companies to ask, what are your core values? How do you develop them? How do you know your employees live them? All of those typical questions. And we went to great companies, and one of the companies we actually went to was Enron. Remember Enron? And they had a core value. It was etched in marble in their beautiful lobby. It was all marble. It was really pretty fantastic. But their values were etched in marble. And you know what the number one value was?
Fiduciary.
Ethics. Yeah. Honesty, integrity. Yeah. And what that told us is it doesn't really matter what's on the wall. It doesn't really matter what's in the program. It doesn't matter what your new hire orientation says. It matters what's in the heart of your people. And that's something that has remained true, and it's something that we continue to focus on at Southwest. So I put just a few little fun facts in there. You love our peanuts and our pretzels. We give away a lot of those. About 45 million bags of pretzels and 100 million bags of peanuts. And Southwest Airlines University is really a very special place, and it's one that hasn't been around for very long. As Megan mentioned, a lot of my history was in leadership development, employee development, HR, really the HR space. And about 5 years ago, we made the decision as a company to centralize all of our training activities. So in the past, each of our departments had their own training functions. So our flight attendants would train flight attendants, grad ops trained ramp agents, etc. And we decided, together we can make a better employee experience. If employees truly are the center of our company, then we need to behave that way and make those decisions. So we brought universities together, and now we're at a department about 320 that supports all of our Southwest stories. And today was actually a really special day for my department, for a special group within my department. So it's Valentine's Day, as you know, and it is our biggest holiday as a company. And we love, as a love airline, we have to celebrate big on Valentine's Day. And about 35 years ago, Colleen and her, our founders, decided to start honoring a behind-the-scenes group within Southwest. A group that works really hard to ensure the success of our company, but doesn't always get much attention because they're behind the scenes. They're ensuring that everything is getting done so that our customers have a great experience, our employees have a great experience. Well, I have a team of about 13 coordinators and schedulers that work tirelessly to schedule employees for classes and hotel and food and all the basic needs that if it's not there, you notice. And most people take them for granted. And so today they were recognized as our heroes of the heart at Southwest Airlines, which is really fun. This was this morning. It's been a very long day. And that's our aircraft. So there will be an aircraft flying around our system with SWA University coordination and schedulers for the entire year of 2017. So it's a pretty big day for people. Okay, so I'm going to shift a little bit now. This is a busy slide, and it's busy for a reason. As I was reflecting on spending some time with you all this evening on our Valentine's Day date, I was thinking, when I think about and reflect on faith and career, where was I 15, 20 years ago? Where am I today? If it was 15 years ago, this slide would look very different. It would probably be my husband, and we had a cat. We like to rollerblade. And there was probably St. Monica in the center, because that was our parish, and it still is our parish 15 years ago. But it was pretty simple. Life doesn't stay simple, does it? If your life is anything like mine, we are holding on to that rocket, wondering when we're going to get thrown off because it is moving so fast. And I'm so blessed that I have an amazing family and a husband that we met in high school and 3 amazing children. And this is just a snapshot of our lives. And you can see down the corner, they let me dress them up about once a year, and that's about the best that we can do. I've got my daughter here, she's a cheerleader, so I'm a cheer mom. I spent a lot of time at cheer competition. Not sure if any of you can relate to that, but it is an interesting experience. Not one I was prepared for. My other daughter is really at the other end of the continuum. She's a soccer player. She's a select soccer player, and so we're either in the gym or we're on the field, or my son is a competitive tennis player up on the left-hand side. He's holding his medal from his last tennis competition. So we're usually toggling between those 3 things while working, while ensuring that everything, all of those plates that we're spinning are staying in the air. And this picture wouldn't have been possible without faith and without being aligned with an organization that supported me in that faith. And I had a few examples along my career that helped me understand that I was in alignment. And I'll share a couple of those quickly, even though we just have a couple moments. I'll focus on one. So on the top right-hand corner, there's a photo of my husband and I and my daughter, Reagan. And Reagan is 12 years old. And on February 22nd, we will celebrate her 5-year diversity, is what we call it. She was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And if you know anything about type 1 diabetes, it is a chronic disease. It is something that she pricks her finger 5 to 10 times a day. You can use a pump. She prefers shots, so she gives herself shots multiple times a day. And 5 years ago, we were sitting in the hospital, and it was one of those days that I wasn't expecting, obviously, to be there. We went in for a normal checkup, and the doctor said, "Hey, you need to head down to Children's. There's a hospital bed waiting for you. They're waiting for you. Don't go tonight. Don't go tomorrow. We need to go right now." And so I did what any good mother would do. I went through the McDonald's drive-thru because I realized she was going to be starving. And I said, this is probably the last time I'll ever be able to do this in good conscience and not really know. And so we ended up in the hospital for a few days. And we had a moment where she was sitting there. So she's 7, right? And she said, "Mom, why did God give this to me?" And you think as a parent, what can I say that is meaningful, that is supportive, give me, Lord, give me strength to get through this. And I said something to the effect of, God knows your strength. He knows your perseverance. He knows that you can handle this. He knows that you will be great. And the lessons that you learn from this are going to lead you down your path. And she started laughing. And she said, you know what? You're absolutely right, Mom. Connor, who is her older brother, could never handle this. That is pretty awesome. And during that time, I remember the support that I received from Southwest Airlines. And there were a few years before then, I'm going to rewind a little bit. My other daughter was in the ICU, and she was very sick, and we weren't quite sure what was wrong with her, and she was obviously great sick. But I was in the ICU, and I had to go downstairs, and on my way down, I remember saying a prayer, please, Lord, give me the strength to be here for my daughter. Let me be who I need to be to help her through this. And I walked out the front door, and I ran into Colleen Barrett, who is President Emeritus of Southwest Airlines. And it was a coincidence. She was there for a different reason. And she looked at me, and she put her hand on my arm, and she said, Elizabeth, what is happening with Audrey? And I thought, that is amazing. And I still tell her to this day, she was my guardian angel. She was there at that moment that I needed her. She understood, not knowing anything. She met me where I was. And that was an example for me, from a leadership perspective, to meet people where they are, to know that they are in their own journey, to find where they are on that journey, and to support them right there. That's what Southwest Airlines has been for me. And so I've had several lessons through the year, and I just jotted a few of them down here as we close. Sorry, wrong way. It's not the user, I promise. Right. All right, so here are the lessons that I've learned as we close tonight, and that I'll pass along to you. First and foremost, find an organization that aligns with your values. When I look back at when I was in college and working at different organizations, I remember feeling, this is not the right fit for me. And when I first met Jennifer, she shared the experience of leaving college and going to the workplace for the first time and just knowing this was not where she needed to be. Listen to that. Because finding an organization that allows you to be authentic, allows you to be your best self, which allows you to be great. Think about your personal brand. This is a talk that I give to a lot of younger students where they are coming out of college, and there's Facebook and there's Twitter and Instagram and all of these things. They don't think about what you put out there is a direct reflection of who you are. Just as you would walk into a business meeting, what is that brand? What do you want that to be? And match that with the use of social media. Break the rules when you need to. I am a firm believer that rules are made to be broken, and if you lean towards your people, if you follow what you believe is the right thing to do, you're not always going to follow the rules. I remember I had an employee who, her mother passed away, and she came to me and she said, I only have 3 days of vacation. Can I take those 3 days down, and can I take time without pay after that? And I said, you just need to go. Don't worry about your vacation. And we have a very specific policy around vacation, but that to me did not feel like the right thing to do. I said, you go and take care of your mother, take care of yourself, we'll see you in a week. And that's what she did. And what do you think her loyalty was? Think she came back working hard? She did, and it's what she needed. And why wouldn't I do that? And so don't be afraid to break rules when it's the right thing to do for your people. Lead with a servant's heart. We've spoken about that. When I talk to leaders, and I encourage them to really reflect on, why are you a leader? If you are a leader for yourself, if you are a leader in order to grow your career, then you are in the wrong field. You should not be a leader. If you are a leader to take care of the people around you, then that's where you need to be. Find a mentor, and not just one. Find someone in the workplace, outside the workplace, that can give you guidance, give you perspective, give you that mirror that sometimes I think we all need. I always say that people around you trust you when they're brutally honest with you. And it's when they stop being honest with you and stop telling you the truth, that's when you need to be worried, when things are silent. And be authentic. Years ago, and I'm getting I need to wrap up sign, so I'll be done momentarily. Years ago, I had she wasn't an employee, she worked at Southwest, and she asked if we could make her coffee. I didn't know her very well. And I didn't really know what it was about, but I said, of course. And we sat down and had a cup of coffee, and she said, "Can I talk to you about your faith?" And I said, "Absolutely." And she said, "Are you Christian? Are you Catholic?" And I said, I'm Catholic, and why are you asking, and what do you want to know? And she said, "I don't have faith. And I'm learning that people around me that live with faith seem to be at peace where I'm not. And when I see you, you are someone to me that exudes faith. And I don't know what that is. But I walked away from that conversation and I thought that was probably the biggest compliment I've ever received. Because I don't talk about being Catholic. I don't pray at lunch, at work. I behave as though I'm Catholic through all the things that I do. And through treating people well and always being honest and being authentic and true to myself. That is one thing that if I could encourage anyone coming into my workplace, just be true to who you are. Learn from everyone. I look at every interaction. Each one of us is a gift from God. Each one of us has gifts to share. Every interaction that I have with someone, I try to take away what that learning is, what that lesson is, what that gift is. Finally, recognizing that career is not a marathon. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And sometimes I think when you are aggressive and when you want to work hard in career, there's such an energy and a drive to do well, and that's what society tells us to do well. I've learned it's a marathon. You're going to have good miles, bad miles, fast miles, slow miles, but surround yourself with people who share in the values that you have faith in those moments when those tough miles, and that the journey will continue. And finally, I'll end with a story. Years ago, a friend of mine was telling me a story about a daughter who was 4 years old at the time, and she was a ballerina, and she was having her very first dance recital. And they went into the dressing room to try on the tutu for the first time. Have you ever seen a little 4-year-old ballerina? Right? So she put on her pink tutu and her pink ballet shoes, and she was looking at herself in the mirror, that three-way mirror, and she just turned around to her mom and she said, "Mommy, I am freaking out with joy." And I loved that story because the authenticity in that, if we could work with a career, and have a career that we truly believe we are freaking out with joy every day, what a gift that is for those around us. And I think the only way that we can truly freak out with joy is when our faith and our career are together. They're not separate, but they're part of it. To pray daily, to give to others daily, to reflect daily. It is such a critical part of my career that I am freaking out with joy every single day. And I hope you all are as well. Thank you so much for your time tonight. It has been such a joy to be with you. And I think Megan might have an opportunity for some questions. Did I talk too long? Did I lose the question and answer period?
So we'll have a few minutes for question and answer. Pass on the mic. Just ask questions that are relevant to this topic. the YCP mission, and Claire will pass around the mic.
Fortunately, after a long while, I've occurred that I think my main employers would say I'm bringing down joy. It's really funny all the time. And you always sort of, your balance is off. You know, we all have jobs sometimes that we feel like we can work 20 hours a week. And for those of us who are married or young people trying to find a balanced life, you have such, your career is so bright and you're bringing out the joy of work you do. How do you balance another your children and a wife and a daughter? And you just make it work. You know, it's like a rocket ship thing. Right? It's like, oh my gosh, our pace is just ridiculous, but life isn't getting slower. Right? I'm really thinking. So I would love to hear how you done that with peace in your heart, knowing that you're there for your children, you're there fully in your job, and as a wife.
Yeah, that's such a great question. Anyone else struggle with balance in here? Yeah, so I try to look at it beyond balance, and I try to look at it as work-life integration. That there's not work, there's not faith, there's not family, there's not community. It is connected. And in order for me to be my best self, I need to feel connected with all. I will tell you that I would say 80% of the time, I think, okay, I kind of got this thing. I'm feeling in control, I'm feeling connected, I'm feeling integrated. 10% of the time I'm thinking, uh-oh. And about 10% of the time I think I'm absolutely going to lose my mind. And in those moments, I rely on my mentors and my community to kind of help guide me through some of that. And I've also learned I set up boundaries, and it's so important that you learn to do that. Because if you say yes to everything, you're going to say no to the most important things. And sometimes the most strategic decision is to say no to something. But you need to know what those priorities are, you know, in order, I think, to do that well. And when I first took this position, I remember sitting down with my boss, and it actually wasn't something, I was worried about it. Let me just put it that way. I was worried about taking on a position with this responsibility, knowing that I had 3 young children at the time. They were 5, 7, and 9. And I thought, how am I going to do that? So I sat down and talked to them and said, here's what I need. I want to be able to take them to school every day. If I can wake up, make their breakfast, make sure they have everything in order, and send them off well, then that will allow me to focus when I get to work. And so I do it every single morning. And my EA knows, everyone that I work with knows, I'm not in the office until about 8 o'clock. So I can drop them at St. Monica at 7:45, and I'm right down the road, and I get in there at 8. It's a non-negotiable for me. And so I've learned to set up these boundaries around me and communicate those. And what I have found is people respect those boundaries and appreciate what those are. Because it's tough to do all of it. But if you rely on the people around you and you're honest and authentic with what you need, then I think you can do it. Great question. Thanks, Caroline. I heard you were extremely talkative. I was told you're talkative. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I guess I have a job that's a lot like putting on a pantsuit too, but
Good for you. Are you freaking out with joy?
not yet. Yeah, but I actually did want to ask about what concrete steps does Southwest Airlines do to maintain a positive corporate culture? Like, what are some concrete things you do that you think work to keep that culture of values and kind of that, attachment between employees?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first and foremost, we hire the right people. It starts with hiring. And you may have heard, if you've ever heard Southwest talk before, chances are they said we hire for attitude and we train for skill. It's something that we've talked about for 45 years. And there's magic in that. And I will tell you that I have, on multiple occasions, chosen the less qualified candidate who had the right attitude, because I knew that heart, that soul, that warrior spirit, service heart, family attitude, as long as that's there, I can train you on anything you need to know. Except for our pilots, we do hire our pilots who know how to fly. Just to be clear, safety first. So we hire the right people, and then we focus on training, right? You can't, companies miss employee development, and it blows my mind, because if you miss out on growth and development for your people, you miss out on connecting with them. And when you miss that connection opportunity, you start to lose them. And so we put a lot of energy behind growth and development and performance plans, and we do a lot of accountability and feedback to ensure that happens. Something else that we do is we have a company-wide culture committee that was started by Colleen Barrett years ago, with the hopes that every location would have one or two people that would come together and talk about the culture of Southwest and take that back to wherever they came from and grow that. And that has worked extremely well for us. And so there's kind of a core, and then there are local. So Southwest based, Dallas, and then all of our areas. With the goal being that as an employee, if I work in Los Angeles or Phoenix or San Juan or Mexico City, I have a very similar employee experience, because the culture there is based in the foundation of what Southwest Airlines is all about. So the culture committee has played a huge role in doing that. And so an interesting note, our culture committee is based on, is filled with employees that are volunteer employees. So they take their own time, they want to be part of the culture, they come on their days off to participate in culture events, and then develop plans to take back and work with their local departments. So it's really a complicated answer, but that's some of the highlights for you. Thank you.
Okay, we have time for about one more question.
Okay. Which of you has the best question? Chivalry. I love it. It's perfect for Valentine's.
Okay, you mentioned the importance of leading with a service heart. What would be your advice for someone who's following a leader that they don't seem to be exhibiting that service heart attitude? How do we respond to that?
Sarah, thank you. That's a great question. Has anyone ever dealt with that? Yeah. Not easy, right? People don't lead companies, they lead people. They also stay for people. And if you're working for a leader that does not have a service heart, there's a couple pieces of advice that I would give you. One, if your company has a culture of servant leadership, like it's based in that, eventually that person will self-eject, or the company will eject that person. I've seen it time and time again. Now, if your employee culture does not have that embedded as strongly, then it's a little bit tougher. And in my experience, I feel that if you lead by example and you continue to do the right thing will happen. It'll take some time, though, and that's where I think the mentor comes into place, and the staying rooted in the foundation as to who you are and bringing your faith is a big part of that. Trust the people around you that believe what you believe, do the right thing with your leader, and it usually works out. I know it's not easy. Are you facing that right now? Is your leader in the room? No. I'm just kidding. Just making sure. Didn't want to make it awkward. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It would. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a firm believer of speed of the leader, speed of the team. If you see a healthy team, take a look at the leader. Chances are that leader is creating that environment. And that's also something you can do, to seek out others who are healthy and align yourselves with those folks. Have you ever read any work by Patrick Lencioni? So he's one of my favorite leadership authors. If you're looking for a good read, jot his name down. He's got several books, and he talks about the difference between a healthy and a smart organization. And a smart company is one that the financial sheets look good, Wall Street is happy, they've got really smart people, PhDs and MDs and all that kind of stuff, MAs, but a healthy organization has all of that and the culture and the servant leadership aspect. And those companies, time after time after time, perform much better than just a smart organization. So there's a ton of data out there that supports an organization that is well balanced. And if you look at board of directors, those board of directors that have kind of servant leadership, healthy conflict, trust, dialogue, communication with a diverse background, they tend to outperform. But sometimes it's tough to look through some of that. Great question. Patrick Lencioni is Lencioni. So he's got a book called 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, which is an excellent kind of team we're in. And then 3 Signs of a Miserable Job is another book. They're all very positive books, so I would definitely recommend it. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. First of all, I want to thank all of you for being here, and of course thank Elizabeth as well for sharing her insight with us this evening, especially for challenging us, to continue to work in witness for Christ, and to see how God works through our lives, even through the struggles. We must rely on our faith, set boundaries, build authentic relationships, care for the whole person, whether that's our coworkers, our boss, etc., and meet people where they are. Leading with a servant's heart is a great opportunity as well, as she mentioned, and holding on to that rocket of life. I really liked that analogy. Finding a mentor is another opportunity for us to really grow, which if you are interested in finding a mentor that especially shares your faith as well, we have that opportunity through YCP, so feel free to stop at the Get Involved table and learn a little bit more about that. So thank you again, Elizabeth, for coming this evening to share with us. At this point, I would like to thank the entire leadership team, all our volunteers for making this event possible. I think we have some Eat Fratelli pizza left over, so grab some and take some on your way home if you'd like. If you are interested in volunteering or helping out with any of our events in the future, again, visit our Get Involved table in the back, talk to any of us with blue name tags. We have some big roles available for you guys to take advantage of, and we definitely will take those opportunities.
Parking stalls are open. There's no passes today.
Parking is open.
They just have to go out the entrance right that they came in.
Right, okay, so when you exit the building this evening, also just mention your YCP and just head on out. And then, just as we close, I would like to thank Zuriel again for sharing his violin talents with us this evening. Thank you also to the Cathedral for hosting us and live streaming the event again. Thank you so much. We also would like to recognize all our spiritual directors. We talked a little bit about that earlier this evening. And so we have a little something for you guys in the back if you just stop by and visit the table back there before you leave to thank you. If anyone is interested in signing up for spiritual direction, again, please talk to us and let us know. We can share a little bit more about what that means. But we have some amazing people that are available to provide that to you guys throughout the year. As we wrap up, we have some upcoming events. March is pretty busy, so you have a break for the rest of February, but for March, we have a retreat to prepare our hearts for Lent on March 4th. It's on Saturday morning. So we just posted that on Facebook. You can see more information there. The theme is Living Lent Well, Converting Our Hearts to the Lord. And then on March 14th, we have our next executive speaker series, which is with Dave Woodyard, the CEO of Catholic Charities, so he's on the nonprofit side. And then to close March, we will have our networking happy hour at Henderson Tap House on the 27th. So keep an eye out for all those things on Facebook. They are all posted there so you can get more information. And then at this point, let's go ahead and close with our St. Joseph the Worker prayer. St. Joseph, by the word